Hey guys, it's Janis. Welcome to my channel, and today's video is a day in the life of a Hong Kong U law student in lockdown, i.e. me. Hong Kong is in a pretty bad bout of COVID right now, which is why most of us are studying entirely at home, and this video is kind of about my routine during these COVID study days. My mornings usually start around 8 or 9 a.m. and I usually wake up naturally, so that really depends. And the first thing I'll do is eat breakfast. Now, breakfast is one of the things where I don't think you really need a routine for, and I tend to eat different things every day. So sometimes it's more Chinese things, and sometimes it's more Western. But today I'm just making for myself an avocado omelet, or like avocado mixed with egg, because I don't know how to make an omelet. But basically, I just chop up some avocado and mix it with eggs, and then I will add salt and pepper, and that's pretty much my breakfast. I'm also a black tea kind of person in the morning, so this morning I'm having rose black tea. After breakfast, I will have around 20 minutes of quiet time. So for me, this usually means reading the Bible, maybe a book, and then journaling for the rest of it so I can get my mind in order for the rest of the day. And then comes planning for the day. So as usual, I will just use my bullet journal and write down a to-do list for the day. And I'm going to cut to my past self to let you know what kind of things I had going on the day I filmed this video. It's a day with only one class, so I have one class from 4:30 to 7:30, and before and after that I don't really have anything. My work plan for today is I'm going to do my reading for the class I have, so that is insurance law, and I will just read through the textbook and take notes. It's a very normal law subject. It's actually a UCL law subject because the teacher is from UCL. The other thing I have to do is I'm also writing a dissertation right now, and my dissertation is on conscientious objections to abortion and how to balance the rights of the doctors, like freedom of conscience, and women's access to abortion. And that's a very interesting topic, and I really enjoy writing my dissertation, but I'm currently about like 60% through, and I'm just gonna take you through a little bit of how I write my dissertation as well. Right, and the other two things I just wrote down in my bullet journal were to practice my German and Russian. So German, I've been learning very on and off for a couple years now, and I'm gonna be taking B2 classes soon. So that's what I'm self-studying for. Russian, I started a month ago, so I am a very low-level beginner, but it's very fun. Both of those tasks, they're not like part of my uni, of course, so I'm gonna leave them to after my class. So after 7:30 in the evenings, I will tend to just chill a little bit and just practice my languages, but we'll get to that later. But first, insurance law. And the one big difference between online school and face-to-face school for me is that in face-to-face school, I used to take all my notes by hand, and you can actually see my old note-taking videos, and I love that method of learning. It really works for me. It's just that online right now, I don't really have the motivation to do that, and everything is on my screen anyway. So what I do now is to have my textbook out on the left and my notes on the right, and I will basically highlight through my textbook the way I normally would in a physical textbook. I'll do green for cases and then yellow for main points. And after I read a few pages of the notes and have highlighted a bit, I will turn to my notes and actually copy things down onto my notes. And you can see in my other note-taking video how I do this in detail, but basically I have boxes for my cases, I highlight my statute, and I have a system where it makes everything very clear to read. And so I just spent my morning doing this insurance law reading. Now it's the afternoon and time for lunch. For lunch I had this noodle soup, and I struggled for a while to figure out how to explain this, so I just used Wikipedia. And yes, this is river snail noodle soup, and it sounds better in Chinese, I guess, but it's very delicious, and I'm really glad my sister introduced me to it. But yeah, that was my lunch along with some vegetables. So after a bit of rest, I started working on my dissertation. And as I made this video, I realized that my dissertation method is far too complicated to include in this video, and so I might do a separate video on this. But basically what I did in the afternoon was look through my dissertation draft, my structure, and try to write a bit of introduction for one of the sections of my dissertation. And aside from that, I also looked over some of my literature notes and found out and highlighted which of the articles I had to remember to include in my dissertation, and sort of did a bit of organization without actually writing quite a lot. And after about an hour of that, it was time for my insurance law class. Alright, so now the class is about to start, but I thought I'd just show you guys my setup here for the Zoom classes. Recently, I got this monitor because my friend Joseph left Hong Kong and he just gave me his monitor, or like bailed me his monitor for the rest of the term. So I have my Zoom set up on my laptop there, so when the professor starts talking and stuff, I can look at him over there. While on this side, I can keep having my a handout and my notes, and so everything is just much easier with this monitor. So I just have to say like a shout out to my friend. Class ended pretty late today at 7:30, and afterwards I had dinner and it was already evening. So I did my language learning and I did Russian first. As I said, I'm a beginner in Russian, so I do a lot of writing down things in the beginning months, especially because Russian has an entirely different alphabet. I just try to write as much as possible, and in my notebook I put in different vocab lists and grammatical rules such as verb conjugations and all of that stuff. And for this kind of learning, I have a YouTube teacher, so I just found this really good channel that teaches you the basics of Russian. And aside from using that to help my grammar, I also use Duolingo just because it's a very fun way to get in a lot of vocab, especially for a new language. So when I want to start something new, I always start with Duolingo. An hour later, I started on German. And for me, German is very different because I have a very specific target, which is to be able to start my B2 course soon. And because I've never taken a formal German class in my life, and I relied on, I self-learned my entire journey. And so for me, it was just a lot of revision of the notes I'd taken in the past. And I'm also doing some of those online free German courses using the A1 to B1 levels, so I know what sort of stuff goes in each level, so that I'm sort of prepared when I have to start my B2 classes, because I've really never taken a class before. Alright, so it's nighttime now, and personally I am a very firm believer in winding down after a day of work. And it's not just like a philosophy, but I really need a lot of winding down time. I need at least like a good hour of calming myself and like winding down before I'm relaxed and like not agitated enough to sleep. There's usually a few things I might do. It's usually writing or reading or listening to music. It's just one of these things of like consuming or putting out creative content. For me, that's the most relaxing thing I can do. Right now I'm reading a couple of books. So I'm reading a book of poetry called Life on Mars, and I'm reading Emily Dickinson's poems. And also I'm reading Norwegian Wood by Murakami. Another thing I like doing is just having my nightlights and music on. Since throughout my day, I'm always thinking, like even if it's uni work or if it's language, I am thinking through concepts. And I think music is the main mode of relaxation where it's literally the brain turning off. And so if I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed, I probably won't do the reading or writing, and I'll just listen to some music and relax that way. And that brings me to the end of this video. As always, thank you for watching, and I just hope that everyone finds a way to make the best of this lockdown until we get to go back to our normal lives again. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!